Hello and welcome to the Winning in Life podcast. This is David, your friend. I'm here every Wednesday, apart from the Wednesday when we have the Mid-Bygrass Show. Now, we've been unpacking the year of increase so far in practical terms. No hype, not just theory, but real applicable growth. And in tonight's episode, which I've entitled Environment for Increase, I am to build on that, see if we can give somebody understanding and we win together this year. Because sometimes the issue in life is not your lack of faith or your faith or what the size of your faith at all. It is sometimes not even your discipline or a lack of it. Sometimes it is not even about your vision. It is all about environment. And that's what we're going to talk about today, environment. And so the first thing is that you must understand, the first lesson, that is that environment increase responds to environment. Increase responds to environment. There is a direct correlation between increase and your environment. In the book of Psalms, Psalm 1, 2, 3, Psalm chapter 1 and verse 1 to 3, the Bible says, talks about how that he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. So the person who does not keep the company of corrupt people, if you like, messed up people, but keeps good company, this individual shall be like a tree that is planted by the rivers of water. And when there's a difference between bringing a cup of water and watering a plant and a plant that is planted at the source or by the river or where the actual fresh water comes from the source. Notice something powerful. The tree does not struggle to produce fruit. I have never in my whole life seen a tree crying or praying or binding the devil so that it can produce the fruit it's supposed to produce. I grew up, first part of my life, I should stop saying I grew up in Zambia because I spent most of my time here. But hey, growing up, I remember we used to have fruit trees all over the place. Even now, when I go back to my parents' house, we got mango trees at home, guava trees, papaya, and banana. There's all sorts of things at home, avocado. And so if you wanted a fruit, you just go up the tree and you get the fruit. Now, I never in my whole life saw a single tree praying that it will produce mangoes. I never saw a mango tree going Shandai, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Khan, all that I may produce mangoes. No, because it came natural, because it was meant to produce fruit. And so in the same way, when you are planted in the right environment and you're the right tree, you will produce the right fruit that you're supposed to produce. All the tree does is simply remains planted in the right environment. Increase, you see, is natural in the right atmosphere. Increase in the right atmosphere is absolutely natural. And here's the thing: you cannot expect consistent increase in a consistently draining environment. So you cannot expect consistent increase when you are consistently in a draining environment. Environment includes the people around you. You might be wondering what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about global warming tonight. When I'm talking about environment, it's Einstein who said insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So you cannot be in a messed up environment and expect to have increase in your life this year. Yes, this is a year of increase, but you're going to have to do your part. You see, your environment includes the people that you surround yourself with, the people that you hang out with, the people that you spend time with, the people that you listen to, the voice that you're listening to, the conversations that you entertain. Your environment involves the content that you're consuming, whether it's digital content or media or online content or television, whatever. This is all part of your environment. The environment also involves your culture, the culture that you actually tolerate. So, because there's the different cultures going around there's nothing you can do about that. But I'm specifically talking about the culture that you tolerate to be in your life or around you. And your environment also involves the physical space in which you live. That is your environment, your studio, your office, my environment here, where my studio, that's my environment right now. Wherever you are, your physical space forms part of your environment. So as you know, when I try to teach practical lessons, I try to use case studies and look at that, see if we can glean lessons from real people that lived a real life. And so the case study for today, as we look at environment for increase, I want to look at a case study of Lot and Abraham. You probably are familiar with this story of Abraham and Lot. Abraham hears a word from God. God says, leave your people and go to a place I'm going to show you. And by faith, he leaves without knowing where he was going to go. But then he takes with him Lot. Now, notice that I'm not going to get into that right now because I'm not preaching. On Wednesdays, I try to just teach and not preach. There is something that's happening here. God doesn't tell him to take Lot. He tells him to leave his people and go. And sometimes we create our own problems, our own situations, and we turn around and begin to blame God for it. Or we turn around and blame the devil for it, or whoever we want to blame, or refuse to take responsibility. Because you notice that whatever problems Abraham encountered with his nephew Lot were not created by God. God didn't actually tell him to take Lot. He told him to just leave. But I'll leave that for another class, like I said. But in Genesis 13, the Bible shows us that Abraham and Lot decided to go separate ways because their workers and their livestock and the people with them were fighting amongst themselves, and there was no peace between the two camps. Now, Lot chose a land that was that looked prosperous at the time, which we now know to be Sodom and Gomorrah. And it looked green, it looked promising, it looked great at the time, because when you see things from the eyes of a natural realm, you do not see beyond what lies on the other side. But when you see with your eyes of understanding, it doesn't matter where you are, because God, who has showed you to go there, will surely see you through. Now, Lot chose that land because it looked good. Sodom and Gomorrah looked brilliant at the time, but the environment was corrupt. So the economics was adding up, the mathematics was mathing, the food was looking good, the restaurants were probably great, there were probably great job opportunities, business opportunities, but the environment morally was absolutely corrupt. And so Abraham decided to make a decision very differently. His decision was informed by not by what it looked like, but what it could be, because obviously he must have been moved by God. It was a man of faith. The environment that he chose didn't look like much, but because he got planted there with the blessing, God was able to turn around any situation or any place that he was in. So here you notice that Abraham chose different, and God increased him steadily where he went. And here is the lesson. Not every place that looks good is good for you. I'm going to say that again. Not every place that looks good is good for you. Environment will affect your life in so many ways. And these are some of the ways that the environment will affect you. It will affect your decision making. It will affect your moral strength. With what you surround yourself with will inform what kind of decisions you make. What you surround yourself with will inform what kind of moral decisions you make, or the stability of your morality. It will affect the clarity of your vision. And I hope you have a vision for your life when you're going somewhere. But your environment will inform and affect directly the clarity of your vision. If it's a toxic environment, it probably clouds your vision. You won't be able to see clearly where you're going, because it will have a direct impact on that. Your environment will also affect your spiritual health. You will compromise on sin and things like that easily, because your environment has created that atmosphere of compromise, where the fear of God has gone through the window, because it's okay. Most of you use the word we live by grace to do whatever you want to do, even though we know that grace is not a license for sin. But your environment will sometimes desensitize you from holiness and from doing the right thing, because it is the right thing, because you find ways to justify the wrong, because everything around you, the people around you, and the things that you surround yourself with support the morally corrupt behavior. So it begins to look normal. It begins to look okay, like it's not a big deal. You see, and here is how we can bring this to where we are today. First thing you need to look at: consider your circle. What does it look like? First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 33. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, evil company corrupts good habits. In other words, if you consistently surround yourself with the same people, there is a saying that says, if you You want to know where you're going to be in the future, just check the people you surround yourself with. And some other people have said that if you want to know what kind of person somebody is, check their friends. Because this is so true. The people you hang out with will ultimately influence your thinking, your decision making, your morality, and your behavior. And ultimately, if you do this long enough, your behavior will affect your habits. And then when this forms into habits, it's now ingrained in your brain and in your system. And this now defines who you become, because your habits will ultimately form the character, the person that you are, your character. And we all know that your character is what will determine what your destiny is going to be like, or where you end up in life. And so your environment is a beginning, but it's not the end of it, because the end of it has got far-reaching consequences in our lives. And so if you surround yourself with, for instance, complainers, negative thinkers, and people who are not disciplined, indisciplined people, it's gonna make increase really hard, because you are literally directly working against yourself. I hope this is helping somebody. I know this is not the kind of message that is like, hey, I'm prophesying money in your pocket, and you're like, yeah, preach, Papa. It's not one of those. This is for serious, mature Christians who really want to grow and understand. The Bible says wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding. The second aspect that I want to look at is your digital diet. Your digital diet. What are you feeding your mind daily? What are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you looking at? What are you consuming? On these days, the palm of your hand, you have access to pretty much anything and everything. Question is, are you selective, or are you just consuming everything? What are you feeding your mind with? You see, are you busy with fear-based news? Most of the news is bad news. I don't remember the last time there was any good news. In fact, the only time you find any good news is maybe if your football team won a game, but it's still bad news for the other team anyway. News is full of bad news. Take it in small doses. Don't engross yourself in negativity too much, because it will ultimately begin to shape the kind of person that you become. A comparison-driven media, social media. Every day you're looking at this, oh, they're doing better than me. What people portray out there on social media is not the real life. And some of them, where they live and what they portray, totally different pictures. The kind of life they live, especially when they use them filters and all whatever they do, I'll leave that alone. You cannot live your life comparing yourself with what people look like on social media. Set yourself free from that. And so what you're consuming really matters. Are you interested in gossip? Are you one of those looking for the headline, the story? You want to stay away from that. Growth, truth, wisdom, that's what you're looking for. This is the kind of environment that will take you to your wealthy place, that will increase you more and more. And so there is nothing wrong with the digital world and social media and whatever. It's about your choices. You must be selective if you want to get ahead in life. You can't just consume everything and anything. You must be extremely selective, especially because it's just so available out there. But with that availability also comes a lot of toxicity. That means available toxicity out there. Let's see if we can go to the third one. Your physical odor. So cluttered spaces create cluttered thinking. I'm going to say that again. Cluttered spaces create cluttered thinking. Order increases clarity. If you have order, you have more clarity. When there is chaos, you don't even think straight. You don't think right. See, small improvements in your environment often unlock large improvements in your productivity. Sometimes just do a little cleanup somewhere, maybe your desk, maybe your living room, or wherever you spend most of your time. Do a little cleanup and you will see big changes happening in how productive you will become, because there will be less distractions around you, because you can focus more, you can focus better when you clean up your environment, the environment around you. Let's see if we can break this down a bit further. In this part, I want to see if we can look at how you can intentionally curate your environment. How can, David, you're saying about environment, that sounds great, and I want to do that, but how can I curate my environment. And some of us have this tendency of blaming everybody for everything, and we never take responsibility, to the point that we say, oh, I'm like this because of this. I'm like this because I grew up like this. I'm like this because of what they did to me. I'm like this because of which school I went to or which school I didn't go to, and all these kind of things. But what I want to do today is I want to see if we can bring that to yourself. See if you can take responsibility. And when you do that, you will begin to see a shift. You see, every time you negate to take ownership of your actions or your decisions, you rob yourself of the power to change your situation. Because what you're saying is, it is not me that did this to me, therefore I am not the one who can reverse this. So you are expecting them, or whoever them are, to reverse what is going on with you. But if you take responsibility and you say, look, this is me, and even if it's somebody else who did it to you, you say to, you're honest to yourself and you say, I allowed it, I accepted it by virtue of letting it happen to me. Now, some things that happened to you, I know you didn't let them happen, you didn't allow them, but even then you turn around and you say, it happened to me, but I refuse to let it define my life. I refuse to let it give me a space in a little corner where I'm going to sit for the rest of my life. And my prayer for you, if you have been a victim of any kind of abuse or neglect, is that God will bring healing to you, and that it will help you understand that it is not your abusers that will come back to rescue you. That's what I'm trying to say here. Take responsibility for your life and say, yes, they did this to me, but now it's my turn to drive my own life towards my destiny. And with God's help, I can do this. So let's see how you can curate your environment. Okay, so ask yourself this as we get into this one. Who is influencing my mindset right now? Who do I listen to? Who is influencing my mindset? That's a good question. You don't need to type it in, but ask yourself that question. Second question I want you to ask yourself is, what is shaping my emotions every day? So what is shaping my emotions daily? Ask yourself, does my environment support who I want to become? Does my environment right now, my current environment, does it support who I want to become? When you answer those questions, you've already started curating your environment, because these are questions that will unlock the answers that will propel you to your destiny. Because after you ask these questions, then you move into the next segment, which is practical steps that you can take to mitigate this or change your environment altogether. I believe with all my heart that you don't have to end up how you were born or how you were raised. You can change your life forever. This is why I'm a big supporter, promoter, teacher, lecturer, whatever you can put bracket in there, of promoter of neuroplasticity. I run transformational thinking summits because of that. I've written extensively in that area because neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to adapt, to heal, to recreate, and to create, and to basically rectify something that may have gone wrong. Because a long time ago we thought that how you're born is how you're going to die forever. And so you've heard phrases like people don't change, you can't change your leopard skin and all that kind of stuff. That is not true anymore. You can change your life by changing your thinking, and that changes your decisions, and that changes how you move in life, that changes how you act, and that changes your whole behavior, which ultimately changes the kind of habits that you form. These habits will then change your character, and your character will go ahead to define a new destiny for you. And so after you ask yourself those questions about yourself, now you need to begin to do it. Number one, audit your cycle. Take a friend or whatever, if frenemy, acquaintance, audit, and ask yourself, who's draining me every day? The different types of drains. It could be emotional drain, financial drain, whatever it is, draining your peace. But who is draining me on a constant basis? Ask yourself and begin to look at these things. Ask yourself, who sharpens me? Who, when I interact them, I feel like I want to go. I'm ready to go. Who sharpens me? Spend more time with this and spend less time with the drainers. Okay, and then after this, then do the second thing. So the first thing is take an audit. The second thing is you must clean your mental inputs. Clean your mental inputs. What do I mean by that? Unfollow what triggers comparison. For instance, if, for instance, every time you go to Facebook, you're always intimidated or you want to be like this, just don't look at it anymore. Unfollow it, block it, whatever, and move on. Clean up your mental input, what you're listening to, what you're watching, what you're looking at, whether it's social media or Netflix or whatever, YouTube. Just clean that up and limit negativity as much as you can. Cut out the junk, cut out the toxic, increase wisdom content instead. It might be boring, it might be less exciting than the gossip, but it will do you good, I promise you. Number 3 thing that we're going to do is improve your physical space. So just one physical space. So this week, make a decision. I'm going to improve just one physical space. Just pick one. It could be your desk, or it could be your bedroom, or it could be, I don't know, your kitchen, or it could be your driveway, it could be your garden. Just pick one. It could be your car. Some of you, when you get in your car, you can't even see your steering wheel. There's rubbish everywhere. I don't like a dirty car, but whatever you're going to pick something that you're going to tidy up and clean and start from there. Small steps, it could be your bedroom, whatever it is, your office, the order invites clarity in your life. So don't do it all at once. You will get overwhelmed, but pick something this week that you can clean up. Number 4 thing that you can do to curate your environment is create a growth atmosphere. Create a growth atmosphere. What do I mean by that? For instance, add a scripture on your wall, or somewhere where you can easily see it. Structure some quiet time in your life. You can't always be in a busy environment, noisy everywhere. Some of you can't stand to be in a quiet place. You always have to have noise. When you're cooking, there's music, there's noise. Even when you're going to sleep, you're still listening to things until you fall asleep. There's noise every time, everywhere. And you have no quiet time. It's not good for you. In fact, it's not even good for your neuroplasticity, because your brain has no chance to recover and to heal and to get better. So you're actually fighting against yourself. Find yourself some quiet times, or curate some quiet times as you curate your environment. And also make some time to learn every week. Learn something new, whether it's a language you're learning or a game of chess or whatever it is. Learn something new. Give yourself the opportunity to grow every day. Even if it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, do something that will add value to your life. Here is a key truth. You do not rise to your intentions. Listen to this. You do not rise to your intentions, okay? You rise to the level of your environment. I'm going to say that again. You do not rise to your intentions. You rise to the level of your environment. Your environment will determine how much or how far you rise. It is not your intentions. Many of us mean well. We want great things. Nobody wants to fail. I mean, if that's you need more help than me. But most of us want to do well. We aim for good things. We want the very best, but our environment keeps dragging us down and is letting us down. You imagine yourself as a crop. Okay, if you want increase, listen, upgrade the space around your life. If we upgrade the space around your life will upgrade automatically. If you think of a crab, for instance, a story is said of a man who went to buy a fish tank. And when he went there, he found that one of the fish tanks had no cover on it, but it had loads of crabs in it. They were moving around, very active, some of them climbing. And he said, are they not going to escape? Why are you not covering the crab tank? And they said to him, oh no, we don't need to cover the crab tank, because crabs do not allow other crabs to leave. So in other words, every time one crab tries to climb up, the other ones pull him down. And some of you have been in environments like this where there's a crab culture around you. I pray God will help you escape such a culture. This is an environment where every time you share an idea, they put you down, oh, it's not going to work. They'll shoot you down and you're now just depressed. You don't even want to do it. That is a crab culture, crab environment. And I hope you are not the crab that is busy pulling other people down. God forbid. There are some cultures which are just built around crab culture. They will never celebrate other people's success. If they see you going up, they will do everything they can to bring you down, to kill your dream, to discourage you. In fact, some of them even pray that you fail. They are just praying, oh, I hope it doesn't work. That's witchcraft. That's not even prayer. Stop it if you're doing that. But the crab culture environment is killing many dreams. And if you find yourself in such an environment, I pray God will help you escape. Only by a miracle will you escape, and you must fight hard, because it's not easy to get out of the crab tank when there are other crabs pulling it down. It will take sheer power, determination, and the absolute tenacity. You're going to have to be determined this year to say, this is my year of increase. Nothing and nobody is going to hold me down. I'm getting out of here. And whatever you do, push back and kick back as they try to pull you down, and cover your ears and don't listen to the naysayers, and stay focused with the razor sharp focus like a flint, and move forward, forgetting the past, pressing forward towards your goal. May God help you and give you God's speed so that you can come out, because I am determined to take with me as many as I can this year, all the way to the top. Listen, you were meant to be a blessing. You are actually too blessed to be cursed. Your life is a miracle. Your life is a blessing going somewhere to happen. Your life is meant to be a blessing to so many. And every time you refuse to fulfill your greatest potential, you're not only robbing yourself of what you can be, but you are robbing us, you are robbing this generation and many generations to come of something that only you can do. Because guess what? Nobody else can do what you can do. Nobody else can do what you were born to do. Only you can do that. So when you negate that, when you refuse to answer the call of your destiny, you not only rob yourself, which is sad in itself, but you rob the entire generation and many generations after that of the gift that only you could have brought to the table and to this world and to many generations to come. So I pray you will rise up and you will fight and you will refuse to be put down. Listen, even if they refuse to give you a table, a seat at the table, create your own table. Make your own table. You may not have been born with a silver spoon. I don't care. Make your own silver spoon. But this is the year you're going to push, kick, and press forward until you win. And it's not going to be over until you win. And your last word shall surely be victory in Jesus' mighty name. I need you to declare some things with me before we go tonight. I need you to declare and say, I position myself for increase. Say it like you mean it. If you can, say it in the place where you are. I position myself for increase. I choose environments that strengthen me. Make this be your internal belief. I remove everything that drains me. Do this consciously, deliberately. I remove everything that drains me. This is my year of increase. Nothing and nobody will pull me down. I refuse to give the crabs permission to put me down. I will step on them and jump on up and rise up and get out of that environment that has been stifling me, because God's got my back. He's on my side and I have the blessing on me. I am too blessed to be cursed, and nothing and nobody can stop that. Nobody can curse whom the Lord has blessed. Nobody can demote whom the Lord has promoted. Listen, the blessing is stronger than the curse. And so increase the things that promote you, the things that raise you up, and decrease the things that put you down. You see, in this year of increase, we're talking about the environment for increase. Increase is not accidental. Not at all. It flows specifically and deliberately and for a reason. And if you want to know where increase flows where faith is practiced. Increase flows where habits are consistent. And we're talking good habits here, consistent. Increase flows where pressure is managed. Otherwise, it's just chaotic and stressful. Pressure must be managed. Then increase will flow. Increase flows where there is an environment that is aligned with your vision and where you're going. There, increase will flourish. And so, my friends, my family, listen, wherever you're joining us from in the world, position yourself and your atmosphere wisely. Position your environment wisely. And this is how you win in life. Father God, I thank you for these, your precious children. I pray that you bless everybody listening to the sound of my voice today, wherever they're joining me from in the world, that they will increase more and more. We pull down strongholds that may be holding any of us back right now. We pray that you will give us the wisdom, the strength, and the courage to rise above our distractions, rise above toxicity, rise above environments that are designed to block us or stop us from reaching our goal and get into our intended purpose. We thank you for the blessing, which is stronger than the curse. We receive the blessing tonight. I pray now, Lord, as we close, that you bless everybody listening to the sound of my voice right now, that you will increase them more and more in Jesus' mighty name. We give you praise. We give you glory. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Winning in Life podcast. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you again next week when we go live again with another Winning in Life podcast. And I pray and hope that this has been a blessing to you. Until next time, stay blessed and see you soon. Winning in Life.